I just did a video on Donald Trump as seen through the eyes of, you want to call it progressives or Democrats, whichever group you want to label it, fine. And now I want to give equal time to the righties, the conservatives. In this particular case, excuse me, Sean Hannity. And let me issue a disclaimer. I think that Sean Hannity is a piece of shit. Okay, he's a racist, he's a race baiter, and he's always claiming that the left are always using the race card, but he's a race baiter. But okay, now that I got my housekeeping out of the way, I want to play this clip from Hannity's interview with Trump regarding that comment that he made, and I'm going to break it down for you.
I'm sorry, earlier today you were talking about the Second Amendment. And I'm going to play what you said, and then we'll talk about how the media reacted to it.
Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way.
Okay, now number one, that's not true. She never said she wants to abolish the Second Amendment. She does want to restrict the weapons that a regular citizen can obtain, but she has never said. As a matter of fact, she has gone on record as saying she does not want to abolish the Second Amendment, and he keeps repeating that. But okay, let's keep going.
And if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks.
All right. So if she gets to pick her judges, there's nothing you can do, folks. The only way she could pick her judges is if she is elected president and then nominates a Supreme Court justice. Okay, so she's already got the seat and she's putting her judges in place. Now listen to what he says.
Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But
all right, so now he just said, well, there's nothing you can do, folks, but maybe the Second Amendment people can do something. Doesn't make sense. The people that he's talking to, if he's talking about political power and voting, everybody in there can do something. Okay, everybody in there can do something. They can vote so that she doesn't win, along with the Second Amendment people. Okay. He specifically mentions the Second Amendment people, that they can do something. In my mind, if you are specifically mentioning Second Amendment people, that means that you want people that are pro-gun and pro-utilization of gun, my words, not his, to do something about it. That could be interpreted as using your weapons in order to get your way. Okay, it can be interpreted that way, but there's no doubt that he was talking specifically to the Second Amendment people, and he said that nobody else can do anything. The thing that separates regular people, let's call them, and the Second Amendment people, or the Second Amendment people are the ones who officially like and have guns. Everybody else can like them and have them too, but specifically targeting the subject of weapon possession and ownership. Now, here comes Hannity.
But I'll tell you what, that will be...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to play the full portion of this speech that he gave.
Be a horrible day if Hillary gets to put her judges. Right now we're tied. You see what's going on. We're tied because Scalia, this was not supposed to happen. Justice Scalia was going to be around for 10 more years at least, and this is what happens. That was a horrible thing.
You know, so obviously you're saying that there's a strong political movement within the Second Amendment, and if people mobilize and vote, they can stop Hillary from having this impact on the court. But that's not how the media is spinning it.
Okay, Sean, that is not true. If he was talking about using political power, then how come all the folks he was talking to, there was nothing they could do about it? They have the same ability to vote as the Second Amendment people, but he specifically said there's nothing you can do about it, folks, but maybe the Second Amendment people can. That ain't washing. That's not washing.
What's your reaction to it?
Well, I just heard about that, and it was amazing because nobody in that...
Okay, he just lied, all right? And let me tell you why he lied. He gave two speeches today. The first one was where he made that comment about the Second Amendment people being able to do something. Okay. In the second speech, he completely stopped. As soon as he said that Hillary's trying to get rid of the Second Amendment, he killed it at that point. He didn't mention that there's nothing you can do about it, folks, except maybe the Second Amendment people can. He took that completely out of his comments. So he knew that there was fire regarding those comments, and he took it out. So he just lied.
Room thought anything other than what you just said. This is a political movement. This is a strong, powerful movement, the Second Amendment. You know, Hillary wants to take your guns away. She wants to leave you unprotected in your home. This is a tremendous political movement. The NRA, as you know, endorsed me. They're terrific people, Wayne and Chris and all of the people over there. And by the way, they've already, I just saw, they tweeted out, basically they agree 100% with what I said. And there can be no other interpretation. Even reporters have told me, I mean, give me a break. But they're dishonest people. What it is there's a tremendous power behind the Second Amendment. It's a political power. And there are few things so powerful, I have to say, in terms of politics. There is few things. And I happen to think that if they actually did even bring this up, I think it's a good thing for me because it's going to tell people more about me with respect to the Second Amendment, because Hillary Clinton wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. And
that is such bullshit. Number one, Hillary Clinton doesn't want to take legitimate weapons away from anybody. So she's not trying to leave people defenseless, which is the bullshit line that you push. And she's not trying to get rid of the Second Amendment. You know, we keep repeating it over and over again, you know, and if you repeat a lie long enough, people start to believe it, and that's just what he's doing.
She put Supreme Court justices on, she will decimate your Second Amendment.
Well, what is it? Either she's going to decimate the Second Amendment or she's going to get rid of the Second Amendment. Which one is it? Donald Trump is a turd. Right, Donald Trump did an interview on Fox with Sean Hannity, and Sean is going to go over all the various things that Mr. Trump wants to do. Let me say this before I get started. Donald Trump never mentioned how he's going to pay for any of the things that he's going to do. Okay? He talks a good game as far as doing all of these things, but how he plans on paying for it seems to escape him. All right, here's Sean Hannity going over the list of things that Trump wants to do and how gung-ho he is. And I'll break each of them down as he goes through them.
Can I just go through your agenda really quick, because I want people that maybe want to understand, to me, what this election is about. Really, really quick. So that list of justices, that's the type of justice you will appoint to the Supreme Court, correct?
Okay, Donald Trump did not commit to naming the justices on that list. It's a list of 11. He did not absolutely commit to picking one of those judges off of the list. Listen to his answer.
Well, I want to look, and we, as you know, I put 11 people in that were highly vetted and just people that are terrific. But another example would be Justice Scalia. That's what we're really looking for, as close to that as we could get. He was terrific, and that was not supposed to happen, and it happened because these things do happen.
Yeah.
But as close to Justice Scalia as we can get.
And you got.
All right, so he didn't absolutely commit to picking one of the 11 people on that list. That's number one. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Lower the corporate rate. You're going to allow multinational corporations at a
Big
very low rate to bring back, and you're going to allow energy independence and expansion. Do you think you can become, America can be energy independent in 4 years?
I do, if not sooner. I do, absolutely. Companies are being put out of business. Companies in the energy.
Okay. The reason, and he's right, some companies are going out of business, especially in the oil producing sector. The reason for that is the price of oil went so low that they could not make any money by pumping oil here domestically, and especially here in Texas, oil rigs were shut down, people were laid off, and companies closed. When the price of oil dropped, close to, I believe it was 40, it might have even been 30. But I know for sure it dropped below $40 a barrel, and I think it got really close to 30, and that's when they stopped pumping oil here in Texas.
Business are being put out of business by regulation and horrible rules that they're making up on a daily basis, and they're putting all of these people. I'll give you an example. The miners are being put out of business. Hillary Clinton wants all miners out of business, and I think it's one of the reasons I'm doing so well in Ohio and Pennsylvania.
You'll expand coal.
The miners are out of business.
She said she wants to fire coal miners. They're going to lose jobs and coal companies out of business. So you expand coal mining, you'll expand drilling, you'll expand fracking, nuclear, and new technology. Is that a fair statement?
All right. Okay, let me break it down for you. Hillary Clinton did say, stupidly, but truthfully, that she wanted to put the coal mining industry out of business. She did say that. No ifs, ands, or buts. But the coal industry is a dying industry, okay? It's a dying industry. There are coal miners up in the Dakotas that were pulling coal out of the ground left and right. The companies were going out of business because the price of coal dropped, just like the price of oil dropped when there was a glut on the market, when Iran came back online and started really getting oil out. Russia was pushing oil out. Well, the price of oil dropped, companies went out of business. Well, the price of coal has been very, very low, and it's dropping even lower. That's why the coal mining industry has got to change. It's got to change. The regulations didn't affect those guys up in the Dakotas, and coal mines were going out of business because of the price of coal being so low. So that's just on the coal mining side. Fracking, ask the people in Irving, Texas, how they feel about fracking. Ask the people in upstate New York how they feel about fracking. No sane person, if they are exposed to fracking, wants fracking anywhere near them. There was an article done about a major oil company executive who obviously would be for fracking. Well, they started to frack within a really close distance to his house, and he had it stopped. He didn't want fracking where he lived, but he didn't give a damn about the fracking where other people lived. So fracking is a bunch of crap. All right, let's go continue on.
Yeah, it's 100% true, all of it, 100% true.
And the plan you laid out yesterday on corporate rates and repatriation for multinational corporations, that's going to happen, and about half of American workers won't pay any federal income tax under your plan.
A tremendous amount will not pay anything, and the rates are going to be very low. The tax cut is massive, and the corporate tax cut, people are going to bring back companies, they're going to start companies, the jobs are going to flourish, and I think we'll go over the 4%. Right now, we're practically at nothing.
And you...
Okay, now that's bullshit because Trump is talking about reducing the tax rate on repatriating money that's presently being parked in places like the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, Ireland, etc. What does he think those countries are going to do when we drop the rate that we would charge to repatriate the money? They're going to drop the rates as well. He talks about China and manipulating currency. Well, hell, those countries, they are not going to watch trillions of dollars leaving their countries as far as capital is concerned. So they're going to do what they got to do in order to hang on to it. So we drop, and I guess he quoted a rate of 15%. They'll probably drop it to 13%. Then we'll turn around and see they dropped it to 13. So now we'll drop it to 12 or 10. Then they'll drop it to 8. It'll be a race to the bottom. It'll be a race to the bottom. Places like the Cayman Islands, hell, they may turn around and say, the hell with it. We won't charge you anything, to have your money here. Now, how do we go below zero? What you have to do is, no matter where the funds are, you levy a tax on them. If it's a U.S.-based company and they decide that they're going to park money overseas, you create a tax law that allows you to tax the funds even if they are overseas. We'll see how fast they pull that money back in so they don't have to be taxed twice.
Will not allow refugees in from countries that practice Sharia, or where our National Director of Intelligence, FBI, CIA Director are warning that ISIS will infiltrate without proper 100% vetting.
That is correct, 100%.
And you will build that wall. How?
All right, so that means that he's not going to let anybody come in from Germany, France, Northern Europe, because there are issues with all of those countries. We'll see how well that goes over as far as tourism is concerned.
Certain, who was it? Jeb Bush said he's not going to build that wall. It's never going to happen. Is that wall going up?
We're going to build the wall. We need the wall. The security, as you know, the Border Patrol agents, 16,500, they endorsed me. And when they did, I said, tell me, the wall, really important? They said, Mr. Trump, we desperately need it. And wall we want.
That's bullshit. What the Border Patrol, they don't really give a shit about a wall. What they want is more bodies and more technology. They do more with technology than they would with a wall. If there's a wall, all they're going to do is basically grab a ladder, go over the wall, or tunnel under the wall. It's not a wall. It's technology and bodies if you're talking about trying to control the border. And right now, the illegals coming across the border, it's like little to none. The reason for that is the Mexican economy is doing so well, they're getting jobs over there so they don't have to come across the border. As a matter of fact, you have a lot of illegal aliens that are going back across the border because they can get jobs over there. He's not building a wall. Congress is never going to authorize the building of a wall or allocate the funds to build a wall. So what he's saying is a bunch of bullshit.
The wall we need, and we're going to have the wall, and Mexico's going to pay for the wall, by the way, Sean, just in case. They're going to pay because we lose so much money in terms of trade deficit with Mexico. Mexico will pay for the wall.
Mexico will not pay for the wall. And if you start screwing around with bullshit charges and you can't do it, for transferring money from here to Mexico, it's never going to fly. And you're basically, from what he also said, is he wants to renegotiate NAFTA, so he's looking at starting a trade war as well.
And And let's talk about Obamacare. You talked about eliminating it. You talked about portability, pre-existing conditions, and healthcare savings accounts. Do you believe healthcare savings accounts is the antidote?
Well, I think it's one of them. I think it's a great alternative. They work. They're fabulous. You can move. You can do whatever you want to do. Everybody wants them. You'll save money. You'll have much better plans. I mean, look at what's going on with Obamacare. The rates are going through the roof. Deductibles, I mean, you won't even get to use it unless you have a real big, long-lasting problem. No, it's a certainly one method, and there are many, by the way, Sean. You know, I know you always mention that, but there are many methods. Yeah. But they'll all be better, and you don't have to be limited to one or two. We can use other methods. But people will be paying a lot less money, Sean. They'll be paying a lot less money for a lot better care.
You talked about really building up America's military. That's going to cost money. I did read a critic of yours from your economic speech, and they said, well, he's not dealing with spending. He's not dealing with entitlements. Would you eliminate baseline budgeting and built-in increases that every department has in Washington?
Yes, the answer is yes. What we have to do, Sean, we have to build up our military. Our military is so depleted, we have to build up our military. There's nothing we can do about that. We've never needed a military just about so badly.
Now, I never understand how Republicans can always claim that our military is depleted. We spend more than the next 8, it used to be 10, now it's 8 nations combined on our military. We cannot be the policemen of the world, okay? That's just it in a nutshell. If we continue to spend, and I believe this year we are spending about $600 billion on our military, and it's up from last year. We can't continue going hog wild crazy on military spending. And you talk about entitlements breaking the bank, but the military spending is almost as bad. And if you recall how we won the Cold War, Reagan, while our economy was doing really well, was going hog wild crazy as far as military spending. Well, the Soviet Union, they were trying to match. Unfortunately, their economy couldn't handle it, and they damn near went bankrupt. That's how we won the Cold War. Unfortunately, these guys want us to spend all this money on the military, and we're basically in a race against ourselves. Ridiculous. The military is not decrepit. We have the best military in the world, bar none. We have more than enough to defend ourselves, okay? We have more than enough to defend ourselves. We need to come off of this notion that we need to defend everybody else. Other players are going to have to step up to the plate and pump money in to increase their own defenses so that, yeah, can we give them a little help? Yeah. Are we going to be the world's policemen? No.
So the military itself has to be built up, and we can't do anything about that. At the same time, I'm sure we can do it for a smaller price than most people would think, because that's what I do. It's called negotiation.
You know what?
But we have to build up our military. It's very depleted.
For all those people that say they're Republicans, we went down the entire list of differences now between you and Hillary. And if they're going to stay,
All right, so since they went down all the differences, I'm done with this. But, Donald Trump's plan, it's ridiculous. Number one, if you really look into it, most of the tax cuts that he's talking about, they go to big business and the upper, let's call it the way it is, the 1/10 of 1%, I'll drop it down to the 1%. He's talking about getting rid of the estate tax, which only affects people that have estates of $5 million or more. That's not your regular Tom, Dick, and Harry, walking around the street. He's talking about child care credits. Okay, well, people that aren't making a lot of money aren't going to really have any kind of a large benefit as far as being able to write off or deduct 100% of their child care. Yeah, does it help some? Yeah. Who does it really help? It helps rich people that have nannies just like Donald Trump. So most of his plan, his tax cutting plan doesn't really help the middle class. But that spending, he's going to have to explain to us how and where the money's going to come from for all this increased spending. And he didn't even mention infrastructure, and we definitely need to do major spending on infrastructure. Education. There's a lot of things that he doesn't mention in this plan, yet we're supposed to take his word that he's going to run the country like a business. While he's left out a lot of areas in the business that we need to hear about, and he definitely has not told us where the source of the revenues are going to come from that are going to fund all of the spending that he's talking about doing.